have you with us today. I'm going to start by asking you about the first sort of, let me call it a COVID quarter. Uh, talk quarter gone by. Be able to beat the estimate as well. Give me a sense of the quarter.
Well, probably one of the most difficult quarters that we have faced in our lifetime, I guess. All of April was zero production because it was a lockdown, but we had 100% of the cost. May was production for 5, 6 days towards the end of May, but full cost. And then June we had production for more days than that. So overall, running at about 20 odd percent capacity. But I think we used the lockdown period well. We were able to do a lot of transformation within the company in terms of cutting costs, in terms of conserving our cash, in terms of moving to a more digital working environment, just like what we are doing today. This has become the new normal for life. And therefore, I think, we have reset ourselves reasonably well in this period of the COVID-19 lockdown period of the first quarter.
Right. You mentioned also you saw some marginal improvement in demand for both domestic and export market. I want to delve deep on that. What kind of these green shoots are seeing? Is it a one-time sort of a thing, or?
No, I think we are beginning to see a steady increase in demand. First on the industrial sector, second on the passenger car related areas. I think India is beginning to see a fair amount of production in the passenger car segment. I think July was a good month. August is also looking good. And hopefully this will continue because we now get into the festival period. The agricultural of our economy is doing well. So the tractors are doing well. And on the export side, we see also some amount of revival. The automotive industry is slowly coming back. It's not anywhere near its peak levels of FY19. That was a peak year for almost every economy. But it's slowly coming back. Even in the industrial sector outside India, Europe, North America, we see things coming back in terms of growth. So at least, going forward, it looks like there is some demand that's beginning to come back.
Right. And you did mention that as far as CV sales is concerned, in India will go down by 30-35%. What about the US Class 8?
The Indian CV sales was 8,000 compared to 110,000.
Mm-hmm.
It came down. It was less than 10% of a normal year, a normal quarter.
Right.
So pretty bad. In North America, there is data that comes out. The data for June and July is very good. The order books have been 18 to 20,000 trucks per month. So that's extremely good compared to what people are forecasting.
Mm-hmm.
I think largely driven by the economy, where a lot of deliveries have to happen by transportation on road.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that is what is driving the demand for transportation.
Mm-hmm. What about the kind of on and off shutdowns that we're seeing both in domestic and international market as well? Whatever momentum that picked up might slow down as well.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, if you look at the global markets, March, April was pretty much things under lockdown, and then they were on and off. Plants opened up, then it found some cases, and it was shut down again. This is going on even now as we speak. So things are pretty bad. Also, there is a large supply side constraint that is beginning to pop up in supply chains of almost every organization, especially outside, because you have a supply chain that comes from China, from Japan, from many places in the world. Transportation is not as simple as it was before. So managing the supply chain is also a problem. Fortunately for us, we have our own supply chain is indigenous, so we have never had to face these kind of issues, and therefore we are able to serve our customers whatever they want, pretty quickly. So I think that's one advantage that we have.
The supply chain is not a big of a challenge right now, or you expect more?
Not for us, but I think for our customers in general, it is a
Mhm.
challenge.
Right. Well, come back to this, the government's announcement on this proposed ban on domestic products as well, what it means for you, and what kind of orders you have been getting, and what kind of order book you expect to come down.
Well, I think, first of all, this is a very good policy. I have to compliment the government for bringing this policy out. I think it's absolutely important and necessary if you want to grow the manufacturing sector uh, to the vision that our Honorable Prime Minister has put, that is, get it to $1 trillion manufacturing sector. Now, that obviously generates huge opportunities for anybody who's got technology, skills, ability to make things in the manufacturing space. And we are one of them. So we are looking forward to this opportunity. As and when, things start panning out in this area, we are pretty much ready to take advantage and make the products that are required.
So how has been the order book like, if you can give me a sense?
In this business, there is nothing like an order book.
Mhm.
It's not. It's a business. In the B2B business, you don't have an order book. You largely run on what is called as EDIs, or electronic data, that comes in from your customers in terms of what he wants. It depends on how much they produce. You have a share of that business, or you may have, in many cases, 100% share or a 50% share, and based on that, you need to supply. Nobody likes to stock material. Nobody likes inventory these days. Everybody is, worried about cash flows. Pretty much like we are. We are also doing the same thing to control our costs, to control our
Mhm.
cash, and all that. So it's a difficult period. Uh, but I think, if you're agile, if you're tech savvy, if you're able to get your organization to work in that fashion, then I think you will come out pretty well.
And what you mentioned about the cost cutting exercise, what initiatives you have taken, what's the plan as you control the to try
Uh, we have taken a lot of initiatives. Actually, we started this pretty much a year ago, because we were seeing the turn last year. Of course, it was a pandemic, but compared to FY19, FY20 was much lower than FY19. So we were seeing this, and we took a lot of actions on costs, reducing energy costs, reducing manufacturing costs, reducing overheads, reducing fixed costs. So a lot of initiatives were taken, and I think this is what is paying us dividends today, that we are able to operate at 20-25% and still not lose cash in
Hmm.
our.
And what about the outlook for oil and gas business? You've spoken about in the past, well, de-risking, where are we on that?
I think it's a cyclical business, like all industrial businesses are. They're all cyclical. So it has gone through a big up cycle. Now it's going through a down cycle. Oil prices came, from $80 to 40, and then went to -20, if you recollect. Now they're back at 40, $45. So I think it's a cyclical business. We wait for the next up cycle to come. We are ready. We have good products and we have good customers. So whenever that opportunity arises, we will be there.
Right. And what about, you've also mentioned the past for this diversification as well. And we saw in the last downturn as well, you saw it as an opportunity. What are the more sectors that you're looking during at this time as well, where you think you can start or contribute or start to become meaningful business?
You know, first of all, a large amount of diversification for us will come in the industrial market, because the automotive markets are what they are, and we know pretty well, what cars, trucks, what tractors, what's happening there. But the industrial market is the new elephant in the room, with investments going into infrastructure, into areas like mining, into road building, etc. There's a lot of industrial equipment that's required to make this infrastructure. And I think that's where we see new opportunities in subsystems rather than just components. And we're trying to focus on those subsystems. And if you're able to sensorize this subsystem, you're able to put IoT in it, it becomes that much, we can differentiate it that much more compared to what the current supply chain does in this area. So we are focusing on that. Let's see what happens.
Any specific capex that you can outline?
No, we don't. Really, honestly, we don't need capex. We have all the capacities. I think for the next 2-3 years, we are not looking at any capex in our traditional business. We might do some small capex, but that will be largely in specific areas where we have specified business that comes our way, but nothing large or nothing specific.
Any signs of a demand revival right now, or too early to say because of the pandemic?
Well, I think Q2 shows some demand revival, certainly better than Q1. So we are quite pleased to see, at least domestically, we are quite happy to see the demand revival, except for commercial vehicles. Every other sector demand revival. Now let's see what happens to the commercial vehicle sector, because at some point in time, the economy has to grow. That sector also has to grow.
And lastly, on the EV side as well, what plans under place? There's a mixed reaction I'm getting from the industry. Some EV investment is the backseat because the convention industry should come back. Where do you put yourself in this?
Well, I think most of us have taken a kind of one step back from the aggressive position that we had taken in the EV space. You're right, because I think first you have to defend what you have rather than get into a very offensive stance doing new things. Right. So I think most people are in that defensive process right now.
So you're going to follow that same approach as well?
But we are ready when that opportunity comes.
Right. We saw interesting policy decision coming from the Delhi government as well, and we saw state level participation, especially during this time as well. So while 2019 was the most important year for the EV story, it's just bits and pieces announcement also pay well for the electric vehicle.
Yeah, but it's also, as you said, it's little here, little there. It's not something that's going to create meaningful numbers unless and until our economy comes back on track.
True. All right, sir. I'll drop at that note. Thanks a lot for your time.
Pleasure. Good talking to you. Thank you.